Alright, welcome. My name is Hunter Brindley, and this is my final project for CSC 436 Offensive Network Security. And I am going to be covering the networking tool Armitage. So what is Armitage? Armitage website gives this big long quote about how it's a great collaboration tool for red teaming and recommends exploitations and everything else under the sun. But basically what it is that it is a GUI for Metasploit. So you might be wondering, why is this important? Why is it important to have a GUI for Metasploit? Metasploit itself is very powerful on its own through the command line, so what is the point of having a GUI? So what Armitage actually does is that it pulls together scans and data from different security scanners, not just limited to one instance in the command line. It also recommends and ranks exploits, just like its website quote says, and it tells which user which exploit actually works the best. So you can actually rank the exploits in Armitage itself from poor to greatest. And through the GUI, you can actually perform exploitations really quickly instead of having to go through the command line and driving different payloads in and typing in each instance through each line in the command line. You can actually quickly point and click through Armitage itself. But I think the biggest takeaway from Armitage is that it is a great teaching tool, as it can actually visualize the hacking process through showing the different visualizations of systems and how they're being compromised and what the layout is of the network through its GUI. So what's next? What am I actually going to teach here? So what I hope to cover is the setup of Armitage itself very briefly, and then I'm actually going to go through how to navigate the file system and show that you can actually upload and download files from inside compromised systems, as well as gathering password hashes and usernames from different systems that have been compromised and how to use them effectively when navigating through the network. So what I did here is basically show that Armitage is located on the newest version of Kali, so make sure that your Kali is updated to the newest distribution, and I'm showing that those settings are okay, the regular settings are okay. And this is just a dialog box asking if you want to start Metasploit from Armitage itself, so I clicked yes there. And this is just a status bar telling you how Armitage is being loaded. And then in here is actually two sets of things. So up there is where all your systems are going to be, and down there is where all of your commands and exploits are going to be located. So once you've done that, I went in and I clicked Nmap Scan and I clicked Quick Scan OS Detection. And so in this box here, you're actually going to put in the IP address of the network. So to do that, I just found my own IP address through ifconfig, which was 192.168.1, and then I had a slant 24 subnet mask. And then by doing that, I clicked the OS detection scan once again, and I entered in the network information necessary so I could discover new hosts on my network. Click OK, and the Nmap scan runs through. And then eventually it's going to pop up with all the systems up top once it has gone through. Once your Nmap scans run through, this message will pop up to say the scan has been completed. So the next step here is going to be initializing our attacks. So to start on your attacks, go ahead and click on this attacks tab up here and then click find attacks. So what this is going to do is it's going to run through all the different tools that you have and query any exploits that are available for these systems listed here. Right now I have my setup to be under exploit rank. I have it set to good. You're probably going to want it set to that as well. Go ahead and click OK once this is popped up. So in Armitage, make sure your exploit rank is set to good before you find attacks. Otherwise, if you have poor or normal set, you're not going to get the greatest exploits available to you. So with this system set up here, I actually know that this icon is a Windows XP machine. So I'm going to go ahead and change that right now. Down and over to Windows XP. So go ahead, once you've scanned all your attacks, and go ahead and figure out which machine you want to go to first. So I know XP is a pretty vulnerable system itself, so I'm going to go ahead and start in on that. And to do the quick and easy way, if you want, we're going to go ahead and click Hail Mary. I'll show you what that looks like. So what this does is I would not use this on a pen testing situation, but just for fun or in a learning environment. This will flood all your systems listed up here with the available exploits over and over again. And if this were used in a production or a other communication system, red flags would be popping up for sure. But since this is just a lab, we're going to go ahead and click yes on that. So once it's run through, it's going to give you a session countdown here. It's going to go down from 30 or whatever. And then it's going to show you what sessions that you got out of this. So on my SQL system here, it looks like I got on. And on my XP machine as well, it looks like I was able to log on, which is cool. The Hail Mary worked. It's not very practical in a real life scenario, but in a teaching way, it shows you what worked and what didn't. So, as you can see here, on my .8 machine, so this SQL server here, it looks like this exact exploit worked on it. And it shows the machine ID and the user ID here and what session number it is. So one cool thing with Armitage is that you can actually browse the files on the systems that you have access to. So to do this, you're just going to go ahead and right-click on one of the systems. I right-clicked on my XP machine. Go over to a interpreter shell, hit Explore, and then click Browse Files. And in here, you can actually see all the different files that are available on your system, which is cool, I think. Two things you can do in here is you can actually upload documents, make directories, or if you want, you can actually download documents. So what I did before was I uploaded a hacked text file. So if you click on it, right click and then hit download, you can actually download the different files from this computer. And to view them, you just go up to this view tab and click downloads, and boom, there it is, hacked at 23:35. Right, that's the date it was created, and as you can see, 3 minutes past that. So really pretty cool stuff there. So another cool thing I found in Armitage was the ability to download usernames and password hashes from the compromised systems. So to do that, go ahead and right-click on any compromised machine that you want. I'm going to go ahead and right-click on my XP machine. Go over to an interpreter shell, click on Access, and then click on Dump Hashes. And then the one that I've had the best luck with is with the registry method myself, so I'm going to go ahead and stick with that, but play around with others if you want to see if you can get different results. So I click on that, and what this shows is my value, so I'm on the second session of this, so that's correct. And up here, this is just giving a description of what's about to happen. I like that about Armitage itself, is that every time you go to run an exploit or anything, it's going to tell you exactly what's going to happen every time, which I think is cool in a teaching tool itself. But not necessarily necessary when doing a pen test, but in a teaching environment, I think this is cool. Go ahead and click Launch. And what this is going to do is actually run through and check the system for any usernames and password hashes associated with that. And once this is done, it's going to pull them into a big file itself. So as you can see here, we have the usernames and password hashes of administrator, help assistant, support, hacker, and hacker1. Now what can you do with this? So if you're on one network, maybe you can log on to different systems using the same username and password. And to do that, you're just going to go ahead and click on a different compromised system or on an uncompromised system. I'm going to stick with my SQL server here though. Go ahead, I'm going to right click on it, I'm going to click login, and for the sake of this I'm just going to click psexec. Now as you can see, all the password hashes that we just got from our XP machine are in here, and we can actually brute force our login into this system. So to do that, we're going to click on check all credentials. So it's going to run through all these different usernames and passwords, see which one works. And we can see from up here that our domain we are on right now is PJJ4B. So we're going to change the domain from workgroup down here to PJJ4B. And then go ahead and click launch. The other cool piece about Armitage is that every time you run an exploit, it's going to open up its own tab, which I think is cool. And so now, as you can see, it's run through this, and some have failed, but it looks like one has worked, which looks like the administrator account has worked. So from that, you can gather the information that maybe since this administrator account has worked on 2 machines, it can work on others itself. So what I did here is log in with that administrator account that we knew worked on the SQL machine. Once again, I just clicked on the administrator account, and then I changed the domain from workgroup to PJJ4B, hit launch, and then it's going to go through and it's going to log you in. As you can see, it's successful from that new interpreter shell. So go ahead and click on the interpreter shell again and do the same process of getting more password hashes. So over to access, dump hashes, and then the registry method again, click OK, and it'll run through. And once again, since this is a new system, it will give me new user accounts. So you can see that administrator, new user, and another admin account. So in conclusion, I do think that Armitage is a great teaching tool, as it does visualize the hacking and penetration testing experience greatly through its GUI, as well as having not a large learning curve to it. The GUI provides a great way to navigate the hacking and penetration process without having to go through the command line, having a big learning curve there. It visualizes everything, which I think is great. However, I think in the long run it's more important to learn the full command line use of Metasploit and not using Armitage. I believe that'll be better in the long run. Some additional resources here, I put these links in the description of the video as well, but the Armitage website actually has a great manual on how to do more with this tool, as well as a video on pivoting, which pivoting is basically leapfrogging from system to system throughout a network with a starting point off one compromised system, so that's pretty cool there. And the last thing here is the Offensive Security website, which gives a lot of resources on how to further use Armitage and Metasploit. Otherwise, that is all, and I thank you for your time.